So, hi everybody. Thanks for joining us today. And we have a great conversation for you all. We're going to talk about knowing our rights and detention scenarios. And with us, we have amazing individuals who do this work all the time and do presentations like this. We have, and I'll let them introduce themselves as a matter of fact. So, Nubia, would you like to go first?
Hola, my name is Nubia Estefes, she, her, ella. I am a community member. I am also a volunteer with the Kansas, Missouri Dream Alliance. I am a mom to 3 girls and 1 girl doggy.
My name is Catalina. I am an attorney here in the community. I also chair the board for El Centro. I am a mom to 3 girl doggies, no humans, and I'm happy to be with you all today.
Thank you guys. And real quick, my name is Diosselyn Tot, and I have 2 doggies. So I'm a mother of little fur babies. And I'm excited that you guys are both here because I think it's great information to have and just to continue to repeat it to our community and, let them know that there are a lot of resources out there that they can join in. As well, whoever's watching, we want to let you guys know that if you guys want to drop any questions, comments, please do. We want to answer them and give as much guidance as possible. So I will let Nubia start.
All right, so know your rights. We're going to talk about a lot actually, about knowing our rights. And we have an attorney here, so we'll be able to use her. And anything that pops into your head, you have a question, you you just want to clarify it, we'll ask Catalina. And because I'm not an attorney yet. So we'll start with know your rights and detention scenarios. This PowerPoint was brought to you by United with Dream. They're a national, all over the United States organization that helps advocates for the DREAM Act, DACA recipients, and a bunch of others. Okay, so we're going to talk about what to do if we encounter ICE at home, in our home, outside and inside, in the streets, like we're over there at Quick Trip or something. If we're driving, so at a traffic stop, at a workplace, and checkpoints. Although, spoiler alerts, we don't have a lot of checkpoints, but we're still going to talk about it. Okay, so let's say Saturday morning, you're chilling, you just ate your cereal, and you hear maybe it's like 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m., knocks on your door, open up, Immigration Custom Enforcement, ICE. We're looking for so-and-so. I don't know who so-and-so is. Let me tell you what to do or what not to do. Well, keep going. So if they are outside of your door, do not open the door. It's right there in bold letters. Do not open the door. Hey, and you ask for a warrant. If they do have a warrant, make sure they slide it under. Catalina, I guess this is where Catalina can jump in. Why do we need to see the warrant? And what does the warrant need to say?
Okay, well, let's use another example first. Say that somebody robs a bank and runs into their house, or that the police suspect that somebody they're looking for, or that there's some evidence of a crime and in a certain house. They can't just go in and get that person or get that evidence. In any normal criminal situation, they have to first go talk to a judge and tell the judge, this is why we need to get into that house. This is why we need to get that person. This is why we need to get that evidence. And the judge has to see that the police has enough reasons. They can't just kind of go on a fishing expedition to kind of see if they're getting to the right place. They have to already have enough built up suspicion to take to the judge and to ask the judge to get a warrant, and the warrant will sign off on that. So without that, there's no authority for the police to enter enter a building or to detain a person. So these are warrants that are signed off by a neutral judge or neutral magistrate. And ICE does not typically have warrants like this. ICE warrants are not, they haven't been reviewed by a judge. ICE hasn't gone to anybody to say this is why we suspect that this person's undocumented. This is why we think this, that, or the other. So they have not shown this information to anybody. They've not proven that they have enough information for their case. So without this, they don't have the authority to go into a building to look for a person unless the person, somebody in the house, opens the door and lets them in.
The warrant the ICE has is useless. The real warrant that we want to check, that we want to see, is one signed by like a judge, like Judge Judy, somebody who has that power, right? Entonces, right. So what would it have? It will have the judge's signature, and right. Then
it'll have the name of the court that is issuing the warrant. It'll say, you know, what the basis for the warrant is, and it'll have the judge's signature. And an ICE warrant, it's, you know, it's just worth the paper it's printed on. It doesn't have any of that information.
Perfect. So we want to make sure. We want to make sure that if they do show us a warrant, it has the judge's signature, which I'm hopeful it will be like the Honorable Judge Judy, Honorable Judge Maria Polo, whatever it is, right? You'll have like that title. And then it also have the District Court of Missouri, right? Something like a fancy title.
Right.
Perfect. So they're outside my door. They say, okay, we do have a warrant. Let us in. We check the warrant. And then, so if it does matches, do I have to let them in?
If the information is correct, that does mean that ICE has the authority to detain that person. But if that person's not in the house, or like kind of like you were saying with the presentation, if there are any misspellings, you know, if you know they're looking for Juan Perez Vasquez and in the house lives Juan Vasquez Perez, then that's wrong, and that's, you know, then they're not looking for the right person. They're not looking in the right place. So that's why you have to, just like it says, you know, you can ask them to show you the paperwork. You don't have to open the door for them to show you the paperwork. You can ask them to slip it under the door. You can ask them to, you know, put it up against the window, put it in the mail slot to make sure that it says exactly what they're saying, they're claiming that they want. And again, you know, they don't have the authority to bust in and open the door. You know, again, like a police warrant, if they have a warrant to search a house, that means they can go in and you can't stop them, but not so with ICE.
Perfect. So if they don't have a warrant, you are more than able to say, I do not want to speak to you, and I will not open the door.
Correct.
Perfect. Okay, let's go to the other one. Okay, but wait. So are they gonna be like, oh, okay, well, thanks for letting us know, I'll talk to you later? Or como ves? What do you think they're gonna be like? You need to open this door now, or we're gonna come down and get it open. What do you think?
Well, they're always going to try to convince you and be aggressive and try any sort of tactics to get you to do what they want. But you know, it doesn't matter whether they're being nice or whether they're being aggressive. The important thing is that you remain calm. Is that you know, you say, you know, sorry, no, like I'm exercising my right to not open the door, to not talk to you. You know, thank you, bye-bye. Like, you don't have to give them any more justification or information than that. You can just say, no, I do not want to speak to you. I'm refusing to talk to you or to open my door to you.
Okay, so with my own experience, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, ICE is not nice. No nos van a decir, they're not gonna be like, oh, okay, thanks. So that's when we have to be like, I do not want to speak to you. I'm gonna close this door. I'm not gonna open. I'm not gonna go out. Nobody's gonna come in, and just wait till they leave to continue. But also be vigilant around because they're tricky. I mean, it's their job. All right, next slide.
The important thing to remember, Nubia, what we said is that they don't have to tell you the truth. They don't have to tell you the truth. They don't have to. They can lie to you. They can say, oh, we're looking for Juan because we think he was an important witness on a crime, or like, oh, we're just wanting to talk to him for another reason. We also seen situations where they're like, oh, I hit your car in the parking lot. Like they do not have to be honest with you in order to get you to open the door.
And I just want to say thank you guys, and want to point out that we already have a comment where Nikki's saying thank you for all the information that we're sharing right now, and we'll continue to share. And thank you, everybody. Please continue to add on any comments or any questions that you guys have, because this is really important to know how to defend ourselves and know exactly what we have to share and what we don't have to share.
And also, Nikki, if you know other people that could benefit from this information, share this information with them as well. Or if there's like other groups that you feel could benefit from a similar presentation, I know that Diosselyn and Nubia and I are always happy to go to other groups and share this information because we want people to be informed.
Yes, we're gonna need this information, and I think hopefully next time we'll also do it in Spanish. Newsflash is you haven't heard, it's election season, so we're gonna need all the information. Not only that, but we're also gonna need to share this information with our community members, our parents, our uncles, anybody, basically, to get the word out. That's how we're gonna be able to continue with keeping our community safe. I'm just letting you know that's coming. Election season, immigrants are always kind of, como se dice, like they just sweep us. So sweep us, throw us under the bus is what I meant to say. Okay, so Catalina, I'm walking to Quick Trip because I'm gonna get a soda, right? And then out of the nowhere comes this tall, bearded, buff-looking guy asking me, "Hey, are you Nubia? Are you Nubia Estefes?" Like, the first thing I would do would be like, oh, dude, who is this? And you need to back it up.
You're like, I want to talk to you.
I'm gonna need you. But let's be honest, like, let's say he has like a vest or like an official looking jacket, and I'm like, I'm worried, I'm just a police officer. Should I confirm it's Nubia? Should I be like, who are you?
Well, if it were just regular police, you don't you can identify yourself, you can confirm your name, but you don't have to give any additional information. They start asking, like, where were you born, what's your social, no. And that's even with regular police. You don't police are interested in knowing your identity whenever they encounter you, but again, any questions that start getting into your immigration status, that's beyond the scope of anything that you have to answer. So, name is fine, but anything else you can say, like, I'm like, I don't want to answer any questions for you. Like, are you detaining me for any reason? If not, am I free to go? And again, same thing. Just keep your cool and be calm.
Okay, so the two things that we kind of have to embed in our brains, is, am I being detained? Am I free to go? And this works with the police as well, correct? So two things, put it down in your head, make sure you repeat it. Am I being detained? Am I free to go? So what if it says, well, you are free to go, just answer this question?
you can just repeat the questions like, am I being detained? Am I free to go? Like, como periquito, like, it's all right. You can repeat the question a million times and refuse to answer anything else. Just say like, are you detaining me? Like either you're detaining me or I'm free to go and I don't have to answer your questions. Thank you. Bye.
So no, you're not free to go unless you need to tell me this. So then they do say, hey, you are detained. So what should be my next one?
Well, then I don't want to talk to you until I, talk to an attorney. I'm going to exercise my right to remain silent. I want to talk to an attorney and I don't want to talk to you. That's it, even if they're detaining you.
Perfect. Catalina, I can't stress enough, like, the part to remain silent. Like, I really want to get a shirt just like, I have the right to remain silent. Like, I ain't speaking in Spanish, like, me voy a callar, which is kind of, mantenerte callado, staying quiet. That is, like, the thing that I see the most. Like, if an officer is questioning me, like, I just...
Yeah, so many people think that if they just play nice with the officer, whether, whatever kind of law enforcement it is, a lot of people think that it, like, oh, if I play nice with them and I answer their questions, I'm not gonna arise any suspicion. They're gonna leave me alone. And it doesn't work like that. That's not, that's if an officer is investigating something, their job is to try to get more and more information from you, and you keeping on feeding that information is serving that purpose. So there's nothing you gain by like, oh well, maybe if I keep talking to him and answering their questions, they're gonna that's gonna always be better for me. Not necessarily.
So no hay que soltar la sopa. We're not saying anything.
And again, like, this is not about being rude or being mean to officers. It's about respecting your own rights. So this is not about being aggressive or whatever. This is about you remembering that you have rights and that you need to ensure that those rights are respected.
I think with the Spanish speaking community, I think that is one of the most rights that we just give out. Like, we throw it out right away. Because honestly, if somebody authority-ish comes up to me, let's face it, most of them are like tall, intimidating people. Like, the first thing I want to do is like, no, like, I didn't do anything. So another thing to remember is just stay silent. Sí, las dos cosas. ¿Estoy siendo detenido o estoy libre para irme? Am I being detained? Am I free to go? Yeah, I remember to say those words. But yes, I want to talk about también las cuatro cosas, the four things. This is a Spanglish video, eh? The four things the ICE officers need to know that ask you questions, like, oh, where are you from? Where did you enter? I'm like, no, pues, soy de Mexico, I'm like, I'm from Mexico.
Answer that.
Why do they need those questions?
Well, because that's going to help them establish a suspicion as to whether you need to be put into a deportation proceeding. I mean, that, again, you're kind of like confessing, giving them the information. You're doing the investigation for them.
Right, and that's their job, right? If they need to know where I came from, how I came here, where I belong, or where I have my citizenship from, that's their job to do, not mine. That's why we remain silent. That's why calladitos nos vemos más bonitos. Silence. Okay.
Yes, and I just want to add, like, yeah, everything that you guys said, and just remembering, like, anything can be used against you, right? So let's just not do it. Let's not work against ourselves. I really like the fact that you guys are emphasizing that, because that is really, como tú dices, la primera cosa que se va de la ventana. We're right there and just saying, like, yep, soy de aquí, me vine de acá y yo estoy con tal fulanito. Let's not say that.
I know, like, I've done this presentation a few times, and so has Dio, and you too, a million times. And I don't know if you remember, 3 years ago, we were traveling through Texas, and a police officer stopped my husband and I, And even though I know better than to start saying anything, the panic that I have, the nervous, the stress, like it was real. Like even it was just like one officer, it was my husband was speeding. He just started asking all these questions. Now this was in Texas, and I started freaking out, and I know my rights, and I just started speaking. I just started, ugh. And I think I texted you that night. I'm like, oh, we just got pulled over. So even though we're telling you this information, you have to take a second and have to take a break to remember this information. Like, acuérdense. Like, even it's a deep breath and like just kind of calm down and be like, I got this. I know this. I saw Dio and Catalina and Nubia. Like, I'm gonna remember this. You have that second. You have that time. So just put that in your brain a little bit to be able to breathe and come back to this training, that you know you got this. All right. That was just another 2 cents.
Oh, yeah. The reason that we repeat this information so much is as we know that that it has to be like really, really in there in order for you to be able to call back on that information when you're in the middle of a very stressful situation, which for anybody who faces this situation that can be completely life devastating situation. Obviously, you're gonna forget everything. I mean, they might ask you your name, you might not even remember that, but that's why we do this repetition, so that you're like, okay, I can at least remember, like they told me, like I have to just stay calm. I can say, am I free to go? I can say that I want to remain silent.
No lie, this picture of that officer looks like just like the one who pulled us over. Well, yeah, this is a good gateway to it. It's like, okay, we're riding in the truck. We were like going downtown, about to, I don't know, have fun. So we get stopped, traffic stop. And so these are 3 points to remember: to only say your name. You can remain silent, and do not give them consent to search your car. Now, I find this, it varies, right, by county and by state. We live really close. I'm in Kansas right now, but I travel, like I just came back from Missouri. So it really depends, county by county, I would say. What would your advice be? You want to go to the slide, Dio? Kata, would you tell them like your full name or?
Yes, I mean a couple of our area jurisdictions deal with it differently. Like some of them have the policy that anybody who because the police do have the authority to arrest you, to detain you for any violation, like even if it's just a normal like traffic citation. Like you say that like, oh, it was just speeding, or oh, it was just like not using my turn signal. Like it doesn't matter. It could still be justification for an arrest. So there's a lot of discretion that comes into the officers as far as like how they decide to deal with a situation. So being such a diverse metro area, as far as having so many different police departments and law enforcement agencies, that that you kind of never know what you're gonna get. Some areas do have the policy that they detain you if you don't have a driver's license. Some other places have a policy that they'll just give you a ticket. Some areas have a policy where they'll give you a ticket if you can at least prove your identity. So with your like matricula or whatever other ID, that if you can prove an identity, they'll at least just give you the citation. But the one thing that remains steady is the U.S. Constitution. Your constitutional rights are good. No matter where you are, no matter your immigration status, no matter what language you're speaking. So you give your name, but anything else you can just say, sorry, officer, I'm going to exercise my right to stay silent. If you want to give me the ticket, give me the ticket. I want to talk to a lawyer, and same thing. So you can just continue to exercise your rights that way.
Perfect. Now this, so thank you for that information, because this one sometimes I have, mixed, but it's how you're feeling the conversation going too, usually, yeah, unfortunately I have experience with this, if an officer is gonna give you the ticket and just get somebody else to come. Now this is police officer, this is ICE, this is not ICE. Oh, sorry, I was reading this comment that came from Juan. Did you see it? Okay.
And we can read it out loud. He put, to clarify why some Latino families are so willing to talk to police. It's because culturally in Latin America, there were a lot of countries in which the suspension of garantías públicas, civil rights, was done to try to stabilize democratic regimens. In Venezuela, we had 40 years of suspended basic rights, which allowed police to stop and search people that they saw as suspicious, meaning guerrilleros, communists, social organizers. So a lot of Latin Americans, immigrants, have the same thought and think the same thought. It's really great insight. I really didn't even think that it could be culturally connected to what we have, from our roots, I'm even thinking generational trauma and all these different things that can come forward. And I mean, I guess, sí nos enseñan a respetar a nuestros elders, and, they nos enseñan a hacer todas esas diferentes cosas. So maybe even triggering that into just, we know that's authority and that's why we talk. That's a very interesting point. What do you guys think?
I think that's certainly a very complicated conversation too. Some of us are also from places where it's the opposite. You actually just don't respect the police because you don't expect that they're looking out for you, or it's easy to bribe them or things like that. So there's also that other perspective. So but again, back to kind of learning our rights, we have to remember the environment that we're in. So where we came from, that was then. We got to remember where we are right now, and what what policing is like here in the United States, and what our rights are here in the United States, and we got to work within our framework.
Yeah, totally. I'm an immigrant from Mexico. Coming from Mexico, unless you're gonna bribe them, you're not talking to them. But that's a good insight, Juan Carlos. Thank you. Another thing is that no state police officer should be asking you about your social, about your immigration status, about your visa, nothing like that. Like, nada. If you ever have if an officer asks you that, please, you have the right to remain silent. And also, let's go ahead and make a complaint. Like, why is this officer asking me about my status? They shouldn't. We don't have enough money to pay them to be ICE agents. So no, they're going to stay out of that. We are going to know our rights. So make sure you don't answer none of that questions. And none of them should be asking you about your status, immigration, social security, nada de eso. All right.
Right. And that's irrelevant to, were you speeding? Like, what's your social, that? What does that have to do with anything?
Very true. And then also, I just wanted to point out the other thing of they don't have the right to search your car either. Like, if they try to just go into your vehicle, or they just try to say you have to show us what you have, get out the car, all these different things, you guys can say we don't give consent to that. So just repeating again, guys, remember your rights and know that you guys can definitely say no to a lot of the questions that they are asking or are trying to get out from you.
All right. So when I was growing up, I grew up in the Bay Area. I got there when I was 3, up to like 12 or 13. I would hear a lot of this. Like I would hear, "Oh, la bodega and ta got raided, and so got taken." I don't hear a lot of this. Like workplace. Um, this past year, I did hear that they were at like construction sites. It might have been calculated, and they might have taken people what they call collateral. So, what's your insight on this, Catalina?
Well, I mean, workplace raids. And I think the advice right there. So, um, I mean, these places are difficult because typically there's like a large number of officers that descend on a place. First and foremost, again, keep your cool, don't run away, and remember that you have the right to remain silent. So you can just not answer any questions and tell them that you're not going to answer any questions. Same thing, ask if you're being detained or if you can resume your work. And this point number 3, getting the officer's information. This applies to any situation where you have an encounter with any of law enforcement. It's always it's important to know who you were talking to. So again, I know that this is going to be probably particularly hard when you're again, in the middle of all of that stress. But even if you forget to get the officer's information and just remember that you have the right to stay silent, that's you got the biggest one right. So just remember that one.
And if you do happen to have papers and you do happen to be at work with other undocumented, igual, like you don't need to tell them anything. Don't out people. Don't try to be like, well, I ain't got nothing to do. Just sip it too, right? I would just say not to like out other people. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, also, I was going to add, don't show any false documentation. If you guys have anything that's not good, please do not show it, throw it away. It is not yours. Just don't try to show that as your ID.
Yeah,
that's
excellent point, Diosselyn, because if you show in documentation that's not legitimate, then you all of a sudden get the added risk of having identity theft charges on you, and then we're looking at criminal charges on top of everything else that's happening to you, and that happens, unfortunately. So do not be showing your fake papers to try to get out of a bad situation.
All right. So kind of going towards the last slides now. Let us know if you have any questions, particularly or to clarify anything from the presentation. The next one is about checkpoint. The 3 main things to remember is you have the right to remain silent. Like we need a shirt, we need stickers or something about this. And then you can ask, what is the purpose of this stop? Usually, I think the most checkpoints that we see will probably be like DUI checkpoints, throughout like the holiday weekends, unless you're near the border. And again, those 2 magic words: estoy siendo detenido o estoy libre para irme. Am I being detained or am I free to go? So those are 3 things to remember. If you want to next page.
Yeah, so again, same thing. Again, the reason this sounds so repetitive is because these are the same rights that come into play in every one of these situations. Again, because you have the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself. Just because you don't want to talk doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. Again, kind of like Nubia was saying, kind of like in the workplace situation, you can have lawful immigration status and have your lawful documentation on you, and you can just still say, I'm not answering any questions, and I'm going to exercise my right to remain silent, and I want to talk to an attorney if you're detaining me. Otherwise, am I free to go? So same thing, just remaining silent doesn't mean that you're admitting to anything. So remember again to ask the same questions. You can always ask what's happening. You can always ask if you're being detained, and if you're not being detained, that if you're free to go.
So remember, our fifth amendment right is we have the right to remain silent. I'm going over this with my school too. So remember, anybody within the United States has those rights. Doesn't matter if you have status or not. Know it and then use it. And you really don't. I mean, being silent. Am I free to go? Am I being detained? All right, next one. I don't know if we're scrolling up or down. Okay, this is where we lose a lot of time, I would say. This is, obviously not everybody gets detained every single day. Not everybody goes through this traumatic experience. I kind of know a little bit because I've helped with people, and that's how I'm used to it. It comes, second nature, and attorneys and organizers too. But if you were to ask my mom, what to do in case somebody she loves gets detained, she's gonna have no clue. We're gonna give you this, so you can know this rights to be able to share this information. Is that you have the right to remain silent. Ta-da! You have the right to remain silent and ask to speak to an attorney. You don't have to have an attorney retained. Like, I'm pretty sure if you are you're just normal Saturday and you go and talk to an attorney, they're not going to retain you unless you actually have a case. So you have the right to talk to an attorney. You have the right to remain silent. Right? So do not answer any questions to agents. And do not sign anything. Again, I would hear this so much. See, that's why I'm so traumatized. All right? But that's why I'm in this work that I do, because I was traumatized since little. So many things to say.
I think the important thing to know here is that this applies with immigration detention. So if somebody is in immigration custody, at least around our area, if for some reason you get picked up by immigration, the first place that they will take you is their offices, which are up by the airport, and that's like their initial booking or processing area, and they'll start asking you a bunch of questions. So same thing, todo el mundo riega la sopa ahí. They'll start asking you, where you were born, when you came in, and how many times, and were you ever caught before, que con quién viniste, what family do you have here, etc. So same thing, you're helping make all of the case against you. So that just makes it easier. So once immigration officers have all of that information on you, it makes it easier for people to, for the attorneys to be able to make a case as to your situation. So I mean, the same applies even though they're not police investigating you for having robbed a bank or committed a murder or anything like that. These questioning by these officers, it's the same as any law enforcement questioning. You can just say that you want to remain silent. You don't have to answer any questions. We know that again, that there's going to be pressure tactics saying, ya contesta, ya firma, para qué, you're going to be in jail for months. Why don't you just make it easier on yourself and your family? Just go ahead and answer these questions, and then we can, put you on a plane. Like you really want to be in jail forever. Just go ahead and sign. So we know that there's, or the officers might sometimes just tell, we know that you don't have a case anyway. They don't. They're not attorneys. They don't know what your situation is. but they're like, you're never going to be able to win your case here. Like you're going to be in jail for months fighting your case. Just go ahead and sign. Just go ahead and leave. Answer these questions. It's going to be the easiest thing for you. Same thing. You can just stay calm, not answer questions, and just ask to speak to an attorney.
So Alfredo, hi Alfredo. Yes, well, and we'll be able to share this information. We'll go ahead and put in KS Moda's website. We'll go ahead and put a link. A few organizers got a list of attorneys that practice in the area. You can also go to like AILA.com and type in your zip code, and you'll have attorneys come up that are around the area. But you have, if y'all want to check out ksmoda.org, it's not up there. I'll get up there, making sure we do that. I'm not too sure. There might be other ones haven't been updated, but I'll look into it. I don't know if DDLN has one. Do you know, Kata?
I don't. So I think the best thing to do is to have your friends and family like reach out to a known resource like KS Moda, like a Centro, for numbers of people that can help. Because again, there are a group of attorneys in town, but you don't always know who's available and around. So best to have just the number of a known organization, a trusted organization, and then from there, I know that when you contact Diosselyn, I know that when you contact Nubia, I know that they're gonna work to give you as many resources as we have available. So there's not a central list per se, but that we can always find the right resource, which gets us, I think, to the next points about making sure that you have your information in order.
I want to say something that ICE officers have only one job, is to deport you. They're not your friends. They're not looking out for you. Like Catalina said, they don't know because they're not attorneys. It's a job for them, and their tools are able to lie. They're just awful people. Plain and simple.
Intimidate you. They can whatever it takes.
Right, they're not your friends. You can search YouTube or United with Dreams page, how like the lies. They only got one job, y'all. Okay, and they want to get paid too, so they're trying to do their job. So it's up to us to make sure we know our rights and not become a victim of their awful job. So yes, do not sign anything. And the next one. We might skip those. We can link those. We're going to skip that one too. So, I guess this one's missing a little one. But, okay, so let's say somebody gets detained, right? And what do? This is where you have to be proactive. You got to talk to your mom, your dad, your wife, your spouse, your uncle, your best friend, your comadre, your compadre, cousins, neighbors, anybody that you trust, and be like, yo, this is my plan, because this is where we kill a lot of time. My personal plan, if somebody were to happen to one of my loved ones, they get detained, they could probably call me because I answer the phone 24/7. Like, it don't matter if it's 1 or 2 a.m. I always answer the phone. So then the plan will be like, okay, let's get this going. We're going to have to start asking for money. Depending on your situation, you will know your situation. You will know. Oh, todos sabemos. Like, let's not, we all know our situations. And if you are going to fight your case, then that's when we know, like, okay, we're going to start asking for bond, cooperar, but, start getting bond money out, because we're going to need that. So make a plan. If you have children, okay, if you're a single father or a single mother, where are your children going to go to, right? Who's that second person? For me, probably would be my mom, or probably Yeah, it'll probably be my mom, right? Or, if something were to happen to me, or my husband too. Laurie, he's responsible too. But alguien de confianza. This is your children are alguien de confianza, somebody that you trust. And also, where are your papers? Where's your birth certificate? Did you come in with the visa? Understand where are all those papers, all that information that's gonna help us help you. Talk to somebody. Have a plan, because we kill a lot of time, a lot of valuable time, looking for those paperworks. Where Celia, a community organizer named Celia, has this Cuidémonos KC, which we use a lot. And it's a book that talks about all important stuff.
Yeah, so that's is good preparation. A good preparation as far as knowing your rights. Practice. Saying your rights, exercising your rights. And unfortunately, we got to practice. We got to prepare for the worst. So because once we're detained, yeah, you know where your passport is or your birth certificate, but if you get detained, is your friend going to be able to find those papers? Is your primo going to be able to find those papers? You need to, get a folder, get some sort of like durable thing that you can put your important documents in. Put it in a place that's safe but is accessible. Make sure that people have the phone numbers to flash drive. What? Look at that. Yeah. So have that, have documents ready, because when we're typically trying to get somebody out from detention, we have to show, we might need to show that they have a stable domicile. We might need to show that they have stable employment. We might need to show that they have U.S. citizen children. All of that information. And if that's all together in one location, that just makes the preparation easier. And as far as the financial situation is concerned, I'm sure all of you know, but that ICE immigration bonds are expensive, unfortunately, many thousands of dollars. And in these last couple of years, they've gotten worse. And there's no 10% bonds like there is for regular criminal matters. So if your bond is $5,000, your family's got to locate $5,000. If the bond is $10,000, your family's going to have to locate $10,000, and it's very unfortunate. But you got to know that from the beginning, so that so that doesn't take you by surprise.
Yeah, but like I said, that is where a lot of people get hung up with the paperwork. And honestly, when somebody's detained, like, your head is spinning at a million hour, like, it's just going and going and going. And this is something that if you just have it planned, and it works for everything else, like, what if you were to become sick or something happens? It's always good to have this information. I sound like my mom now, but it's true. It's just making a plan and being prepared. Por si bueno, por si las buenas, por si las malas. So this is free. It's cuidémonoskc.com. Just Google it. Cuidémonos KC. You probably have seen this in the community because we've shared it a bunch in every presentation that we go. And just having that. And then just, prepare to wait. Don't give up. Don't give up so quickly. I personally have been locked up or detained, but I could only imagine having to be in there and waiting and having your family members outside going and looking for help. Y a veces es duro. A veces es duro just to wait. Y ahorita, like, what's the waiting period right now, Catalina? Like 3 weeks? 6 weeks?
For a bond hearing?
Yeah.
They usually probably between 2 to 3 weeks to get in front of a judge the first time around. But if you're not ready for, if your family doesn't have all your documents ready, then what you're going to do is you're going to say, sorry, judge, I need more time. And he's going to say, all right, come back and see me in another 2 or 3 weeks. Then you've been detained for 4 to 6. So, whereas again, if you've got everything ready right there, as soon as you're detained, for your friends and family to get to the right people, then, the quicker that could be, that you could return back to your family.
Sorry, I muted myself. Okay, so is there any questions? Because we got a few more minutes, y'all. I hope this information was useful. And if you never heard of this presentation, well, now you have a little intro to it. If you could see us in the community, we do a lot of this. Like Catalina said, like saying this, repeating this information over and over again is bound to stick, because after a few years, it sticks to my head now. We're here for the community. Like, I know it's hard, because I myself, when I do this work, it's kind of hard also to navigate this, but you're not alone, and we will try as much as we can to help out our community. This is the first step, though. We need y'all to know your rights, and we need y'all to make sure you spread that information. Ustedes nos ayudan. That helps us be able to, like, in cases where people haven't heard, to help them as well with the cases. Did you have anything else, Theo?
No, yes, I just want to say thank you guys, because it's definitely true. One of the things that, like you said, we do this work all the time, and just making sure that this information is out there, that people have access to it. And we're trying it in many different ways, everybody. So please, any way that you guys can get in contact with KS Moda, El Centro, different websites like Cuidémonos KC, or even Facebook pages, the Facebook pages of KS Moda, the Facebook pages of El Centro. All of them always have updates for you guys to be able to know who to contact, where to go, or even just let you guys know that you guys can contact them and ask questions. And muchos abogados like Catalina that are doing amazing work and are willing to give you guys times like this. So please, 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 if there is any time, take advantage of all these opportunities. Y vamos a regresar con lo de español también. So don't worry, we are going to do this presentation in Spanish as well. There is a question real quick that we have, and I just wanted to point out Luis's comment too. He said that this was a pretty cool page for Cuidémonos KC, and Nubia, the flash drive, is a very creative way to organize and be ready, which I definitely think so. At a moment's notice, all you have to do is let them know, está debajo del mueble de tal esquina y tal cosa. Nomás agárralo, mételo en una computadora, and you have everything. So much, much, much more easier and so much more effective, especially when you go to the lawyer. You're going to be able to have everything they're going to need to start a good case. So you are helping everybody and anybody, to be honest with you guys. And question. Is there any fund to which one we can donate, or is this video going to be online? Real quick, this video is going to be online, but again, I'll let Nubia and Catalina speak on the donation portion.
I don't know that we have a fund in particular right now, as far as like a general bond fund, if I'm mistaken. There are nonprofits that sometimes do seek collaborations when a family when a family's loved one is detained and the bond is really high, but we don't have, as far as I know, like a centralized location for that right now. My advice there would be just kind of like to stay on top of things going on in the community, because again, this need is something that just kind of comes up in an emergency, and it's difficult to predict. So just stay on top of, be on alert, like Diosselyn said, with KS Moda, with El Centro, with other organizations in town, for when the need arises. The best thing that you can do right now is share this information. You can share the video. We're happy to do presentations in Spanish as well. We do them all the time. So if you want a presentation done in Spanish, get a hold of Diosselyn, get a hold of Nubia. And we can do this for whoever, for your, book club, church club, quinceañera, whatever you want. and just keep on disseminating this information, because this is how we protect each other.
Yeah. KS Moda sometimes would share GoFundMe of certain situations. If they reach out to us, and they're being detained, and sometimes we'll reshare that within our page. KS Moda is looking for donations for DACA applications. KS Moda does. We just finished one in the morning. We do a virtual DACA clinic. Ahorita it's going to be a little bit harder because instead of getting the 2 years, we're down to renewing every year. So we fund that. I believe El Centro also as well. So if it's for DACA stuff, KS Moda is collecting money for that. We always have. We usually do our fundraiser. Unfortunately, right now, COVID kicked their butt. And we do help out doing free DACA renewals. Like I said, we just finished one this morning. And keep checking our pages. If a situation arises in a family, and it happens a lot, actually. I see it a lot. It's like, it's 5,000, it's 6,000, 8,000, and they're doing GoFundMe or kermeses where you go out and, I'm pretty sure COVID has hurt a lot of the fundraisings. So check out KS1's page. We post regularly. And if you also need your DACA, reach out to KS Moda or El Centro. There should be no reason why you don't get that DACA renewed. I sound like my mom again, but there should be no reason, y'all. If you're lacking money, if you're lacking information, reach out to us, and we'll point you to the right direction. Like I said, it's there should be no excuses for that.
Yeah, like when the renewal's coming up, háganse su cocinito, like start saving up. Unfortunately, this is until there's a more permanent solution. This is what we've got to deal with. Immigration fee prices are going up on everything. So certainly do that for those of you who are on DACA. For those of you who are U.S. citizens, remember to vote. Remember to register to vote. Those of you who have friends and family who are U.S. citizens, nag them, insist them, jálalo las orejas until they register to vote. They can request their advance ballot, or just make sure to make plans to vote, because that's the only way we're going to make a permanent change on this.
And honestly, I thank you guys again. Thank you so much por estar aquí and sharing all this wonderful information. And again, everybody, just like Nubia said, there's so much out there. There's really, like, honestly, if you guys can think of a question limitation, I'm pretty sure that there is someone out there trying to figure out that path for you. So please reach out. There's so many people, so many wonderful leaders in our communities that are ready to help you guys, guide you guys. Like they said, we're all in this together. Nosotros lo pasamos. We have lived it. We've seen other people lived it, and we don't want our community to continue to be like this. So if we're here, let us know. Tell Diana you want a different podcast in Spanish. We're going to make it happen. If we want an extended, thing, let us know. Let us know. We're here to be able to have accessibility for you guys for these resources. So, mil gracias. Gracias, Nubia, y gracias, Catalina. Lo aprecio mucho. Remember, vote, stay safe, wash your hands, wear your mask. And remember the census. If you haven't filled it, please just fill it out. So make sure that, we're here and there's a lot of help. Thank you, everybody.
Adios. Have a nice weekend.